Thank you, Mr. Chair. I yield myself such time as I may consume. Mr.
Gentlelady is
Chair,
recognized.
I would like to start by thanking Democratic Leader Pelosi for her tireless and unyielding advocacy for the Iran nuclear deal agreed to between Iran and 6 major world powers with the unanimous support of the UN National Security Council. I very much share the leader's view that diplomacy and peace must be given every chance in our dealings with Iran before we contemplate the use of any other options. I also want to acknowledge the fact that, acting with the President's full support, Secretary of State John Kerry has done a masterful job of holding the P5+1 coalition together. It was far from certain that Russia and China, intent as each of them is on reducing Americans' influence in the world, would continue their participation in the tough multinational effort necessary to get us to this point. This agreement proves that world leaders, despite being divided on a range of issues, can still work together and reach an agreement with profound implications for international peace and security. This is truly extraordinary. I support this agreement, not because it is perfect, but because it's a deal that stands up extremely well as a barrier against nuclear proliferation for at least 15 years. It also establishes an intrusive inspections regime to ensure that Iran's program remains heavily monitored and exclusively peaceful for even longer. One of the most important provisions of this deal allows any permanent member of the UN Security Council who can show that Iran has violated the agreement the ability to snap back the tough sanctions that had previously been in place. Now, I know there are critics who believe that by rejecting the deal and increasing sanctions on Iran, that the U.S. can somehow coerce the leaders of Iran to completely dismantle its nuclear program. As effective as the current sanctions have been in bringing Iran to the table to negotiate, they have not stopped Iran from becoming a threshold nuclear state. If Congress rejects this deal, it will not lead to a better one. If the U.S. walks away from this deal, we will have squandered the best chance we have to solve this problem through peaceful means. In fact, U.S. rejection of the deal is more likely to isolate the United States rather than Iran from the rest of the world. It would reinforce questions around the world about our commitment to multilateralism and American political dysfunction. Furthermore, it would seriously undermine our ability to lead any future diplomatic efforts on terrorism and on a range of other issues important to our national security interests. So I urge my colleagues to support this resolution, which is necessary for the success of the nuclear deal, the preservation of the international financial sanctions architecture, and for maintaining the credibility of U.S. diplomatic commitments in the future.